I just did a guest lecture for these college students last week, and there's so much angst, I think, around this idea that your career has to be super linear.
Yes.
And I think you are an amazing example
Mhm.
of the fact that, like, it absolutely does not.
No.
Like, what you've been able to achieve in your career is insane for the fact that you've had these starts and stops and questioning and whatnot. It's
Thank you.
really, really cool.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome. We have a fun guest.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm a fan.
Oh my gosh.
I
Okay.
really am. I'm a listener.
Wow, that's wild. Like, we don't it's hard to think anyone's actually out there listening, and they
Get
are,
used to
which is
it.
so exciting.
Ladies, get used to it.
Okay, so first of all, Rosemary, dear friend, is on our podcast today for people who are not watching and just listening. The second guest, Lucy's just meeting our guest live right now.
I love this. It keeps it really exciting.
So Rosemary from Charlotte. And when we thought about guests, I had like 5 to 10 immediate people that popped in my mind because Rosemary, well, you're in lots of categories for me, but your career is amazing. And I
Thanks.
think as a mother, I look up to you with your career as a mother. So that is very relevant to the pod. But
I would say girl boss has been mentioned. So it's
Yeah.
like whether or not we like that phrase, it feels
yeah.
like it's relevant to you.
I like it. Thank you. Okay. I'll take
good.
it.
Yeah. But I just talked to you mostly about how hard motherhood is because that's
too.
like where we've related. But anyway,
Yes.
so how I met you, I just think is really funny. So I've talked about how I lived in Charlotte and I have this like mom group, but I think that sometimes I gloss over it. But if we really like thought about it, it's like a very special thing
It's amazing.
that like
It's truly amazing.
we've created.
Yes.
And I've talked to a lot of friends in different cities. I've even had 2 best friends who still live in our hometown and have lived there their whole life. And they're like, I don't even have as many mom friends as you. And you literally just moved to Charlotte. I'm like, I know. I feel very, very
No
lucky.
one has more mom friends than Sam. That's just like,
it's
almost the basis of this podcast.
It's like a team. It's a team. Yeah.
Okay, I already talked about the friend Juliana who put me on this mom chat. I moved to Charlotte. I have like 2 months underneath my belt. And in the chat, somebody's like, hey, aka Rosemary, let's have a play date at my house. And I look and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like 4 blocks away from my house. I'm just going to show up. I have no idea who this person is, but I'm just going to show up. And me being like very timely with my sweet little Isla, I just like knock on your door and you're so nice, but you're like, hi, like you don't know anybody. And yeah, you're like, are you on the group? I'm like,
You knocked on her door randomly?
because
Pretty
it was a
much.
part of the text chat.
Got it. Okay. I was like imagining you're like, new friend. I'm just going to show up.
I mean, it was
And-
bold.
No, like-
It was bold. In the early days of that text group, people were getting added and people were dropping out
Yes.
on the regular. So she was a new
Ooh,
addition.
How did you get dropped? Was it like
Well, they
just, you're not cool,
self-selected.
or
They self-selected.
self-selected?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Because the group
we're
chat
not
was
feeling
too
this
much.
group.
The group
Yeah.
chat was a lot. So you had to be on point. You had to be
In it.
in it. If you didn't want it,
Yes.
it would ruin your life because it was constantly going
Man.
all night because we were all
Night.
waking
Like you
up
would
all
have
night. I
over
mean,
100 messages.
in the
So
morning.
I probably would have been the self-select out is
You
what I'm
may
hearing.
you may have been.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Okay.
based on what I know
Got it.
about your
Got it,
career
got it,
and
got it.
your yes, that may have been you. Yeah.
But anyway, Rosemary, I think you were on maternity leave because sweet
Yeah,
little Desi
I was on maternity leave.
Anyway, so she just like opens the door and she's like, hi, I'm sure you can come in and play. I'm like, I promised you I'm on this. I know a girl named Lucy who actually is a good friend of Rosemary's at the time.
Yes.
But-
Funny about that though was that I think within 5 minutes we were talking about forceps versus vacuum extraction birth. So that's the
Yes.
kind
Yeah, 'cause
of friendship, that was
deep
it was
into it.
just right
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
Right away.
right into it. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much like why I've always been drawn to you is like the deep honesty. And I love to be honest and I love to talk about my feelings, but like
Yeah.
also real quick, and then we can start talking about you and I'll be quiet. But my sweet little Isla, like that group of first
Yes.
was so like fun and loud and silly. And my Isla was just so serious. No, didn't really give an F about anything. And now that I know her, that's her. And Rosemary would always be like, she's a Virgo. I'm a Virgo. That was me. She's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I will remember this all the time because I would be so self-conscious of all the other kids being like in music class, like with this
Yes,
group, everyone would be
except
happy.
mine
And Isla would just be
would-
like, no, No, I was like, I'm not
My
having it.
gosh.
And Rosemary was like, that was me as a kid.
Yeah,
So
sure.
anyway, that's your long introduction. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my
We are
pleasure.
so happy to have you. Okay. Can you give like a quick, and then we'll go into the details about what you do, your career, because that's also half the reason why I wanted you on, because your career is aspirational.
That's very nice. I
And
work
has been evolved a lot from what I've
Yeah.
It
understood. So
has
that's why I'm like
evolved.
super excited to hear where all you've been.
I'm a lawyer, and that's where what I went to school for. And I've recently worked at a large insurance company providing life insurance and annuities as the chief compliance officer there. And my next role is going to be at a different, larger insurance company in the risk organization. So I'm leaving behind legal and compliance work and moving over to the risk organization, heavily focused in cyber and AI and resilience over there.
Cool.
So that's my new job that I'll start
Is
in
there
about a
any
month.
like legal interconnectivity between what you were doing and like within risk? Because it
Yes,
feels inherently like there might be a tie there, but I'm curious.
yes, there is. So my experience will be very helpful in the new role, seeing things sort of from a larger outside perspective, not seeing it narrowly just from a risk perspective, but considering resilience and other factors, with the regulatory framework that I know from legal and compliance and, a different mindset, approaching it with like a different mindset. So yeah, I think it'll be helpful.
I can't wait in a few months once you get into your new role to pick your brain about AI because
Okay.
I could not be more curious about where the world is going as it relates
Yes,
to that. So I'm
that's
sure
part
you're
of
going to have
why
such
I'm
an interesting,
so excited about it because it's
yeah,
feels like a job about the future.
yeah,
So that's
new
exciting.
frontier. Cool. I love that.
Right.
I don't think I also mentioned you have 3 children. I'm all over the
Oh yeah,
place.
I
That's
have
a
three
really
children.
relevant. Yeah, that's really relevant.
I
And
have
you
three children.
currently yeah, you are. And not only do you have 3 children, but you have a baby and you're doing all
Yes,
this, which is just it's just amazing.
I
You're
have a
like
baby. I
able
have a almost 7-month-old baby.
to see, just so you know, she sends me photos of Coco just so I can feel like I have a 4th child. It's the 4th child that I have on text message because she's so perfect. But okay, so you
Pretty
Rosemary,
talked
great,
Kyle
about
should be thankful. Kyle
yeah.
should be
right?
very
I
thankful that
know. I've
you're
given
getting
her.
that because
Well, I don't think it's.
he's not team fourth baby, even though
I
I really
know.
want a pod baby on here that's not mine. So,
Would it be great? Yeah.
but
But I
you
can't
guys.
let you talk about anything without your childhood
Yes.
because you are such a like every time I would hang out with you the first year, I learned something new that I just was so I'm just this girl from Indiana with nothing fun. And then you would drop these little things like one time I was in LA doing this. I'm like, you're from LA? Wait, what? Then you lived in New York. Okay, so you to me are Hollywood royalty.
Okay. Well, thank
Okay,
you.
this is a turn of events.
Yeah, this is a turn. This you
We
didn't see
are
this one coming. I know.
AI. I did not because this
No.
is all new for me. AI to Hollywood royalty. Need more scoop immediately.
Yes, because yeah, give us a quick background of how you grew up and maybe turn it into like, did you like 13, 15, 18-year-old Rosemary, did you ever think you would be where you are?
Wow. Okay. Well, I did grow up in Los Angeles. Both my parents were born in Los Angeles, which is extremely rare. And my family business is performing, the movie business, and before that, theater. So going back 3 or 4 generations on both sides of my family, that was what people did. My great grandparents came, one set of my great grandparents came from Russia and Poland, land ended up in New York, opened a theater. That was the family business. So when I was growing up in LA, that was what I saw my parents doing. That is what everyone around me in the household was doing. Grandparents, that's what they were doing. That is what I wanted to do because I wanted to be
Yeah.
like everyone else. And I liked it. I liked acting and I was, pretty good at it. And it was just a no brainer that that's what I would do. I will say I always felt that I would be successful in what I did. So did I ever think I'd be doing this job? No. There was something that appealed to me about being a lawyer. I always wanted to play a lawyer when I got older. When I
It's
talking
fun.
about Isla, like I wanted to play a 40-year-old lawyer when I was a child actor, and I was annoyed that like the parts were like silly little friend playing in the thing, like I didn't want to do that. I wanted to like have a briefcase and be a lawyer.
Look at you manifesting your
It's
exact
weird
life
though.
right
Yeah, it was
now.
like that's what appealed to me when I
Yeah.
thought about a career as an actress was that those kinds of roles, kind of serious roles. And So that kind of makes sense that I ended up there. And, I'd have acting classes over the years. And, I had an acting teacher who was very influential and strong. And he used to say, maybe you don't want to do this. Maybe you don't want to be an actress. And I would say, no, no, I
Interesting.
do. And he would say, you could run a studio one day. You could run a studio instead of be an actress. Not because I wasn't good, but
Gosh.
he sensed that there was ambivalence.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was something there, always something there. And when I felt that I could pursue another direction and do it successfully, I did it. I did it, even though I didn't know where it would lead. By that time, in my early 20s, I was pretty unhappy with the lifestyle of acting. I didn't like the uncertainty. I'm a person who likes a paycheck every 2 weeks. I like to know
Mhm.
what's going to happen. And an actor's life is not that way at all. And the people who are successful at it, they love that. They love the chase.
Really?
That it just gives me heart
Yeah.
palpitations
Right.
No.
It's not
because
for me.
we don't do uncertainty on this podcast. That's not really
I
something we thrive in.
I picked that
So
up. I picked that up as a listener. No, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I didn't like that part. I didn't like the auditioning. I didn't like the rejection. The rejection particularly for no good reason. Like you could be the best actress and you go in there and they want a tall blonde. There is nothing I'm going to be able to do about that. Right? And that
Yeah.
kind of thing where the merit doesn't necessarily pass along. There's some randomness. Of course, talent is important, but it's not the whole thing. There's luck. I mean, there
mm,
are all kinds of things that play into it,
Yeah.
which
yeah,
is true in any
totally.
career, but it's even more so in that kind of career or music or, those things, being in the right place at the right time. And I was hitting against a lot of walls. Like it just wasn't feeling right. And I decided to devote myself to school and see how it went. And it went really well when I tried to do well in school because I had never really tried before. And I realized I loved it. I loved studying and then getting a good grade. Like you could do A and then you would get B, which was a
Yeah.
new
Mhm.
thing for me. And I just kept going. So I ended up in law school, the whole time in law school, sort of thinking, I'm not really going to be a lawyer, but I just need a break from acting. So I'm going to do this for a while and then I'll go back. And I just never went back.
Which
So
is wild because I don't anticipate that a lot of people just, like, fall into law school and
Yeah.
all that comes along with that, and they're like, "I don't know. I'm gonna just put in all this work and let's just see." So that's kind of
I loved
incredible
it.
that you
I loved the work.
Yeah.
I was so
Uh-huh.
I was such a nerd. I really loved that part. And my college career had been very disjointed. I went to 4 different colleges. I dropped out of college over and over again.
Wow.
I
In
would
To
LA,
pursue
right?
to
acting,
pursue
like, as,
acting,
like
like I would try to go to
Yeah.
college and then I would just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it for one reason or another. Like the first college I went to, I was crying every day. I was in some kind of probably depression and couldn't do it. So I
Mhm.
dropped out.
Interesting.
And then I waited tables for 10 years in Los Angeles. I did that life and sort of was taking class at a community college, but not really with any focus or intent. I was very confused. So once
Okay,
sort of,
Rosemary,
yeah,
I feel like you need to share this story with kids that are graduating college right now. Because I just did a guest lecture for these college students last week, and there's so much angst, I think, around this idea that your career has to be super linear.
yes,
And I think you are an amazing example of the fact that, like, it absolutely does not.
no,
Like, what you've been able to achieve in your career is insane for the fact that you've had these starts and stops and questioning and whatnot. It's
thank you.
really, really cool.
Oh,
It's
thanks.
really
Yeah,
cool.
I didn't go to law school until I was 25. I didn't graduate undergrad until I was 25, 24.
Crazy.
Yeah. Maybe your
So
parents, like, what was their input in that decision making? Were you kind of like solo figuring it out, or
no,
what was the thought there?
they were involved. I will say I went to a high school where it wasn't done. Like I went to a fancy Los Angeles private school. Everybody went to college and everybody graduated college. Like that was what was
Yeah.
done. So it was definitely like an odd path that I took.
Yeah.
My parents were supportive. I have a mother who has really trusted me with my own decisions growing up. And I was extremely willful. So I'm sorry, Mom.
Oh,
Was your mom an older mom? Like,
She was 36
did
when she
she
had me. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, and you're the only
And
child,
I'm
so
her
she
only
kinda just,
child.
like
Yes. Yes.
she kinda just, like, let you wow, that's
Yeah, she did.
I
I
love
mean,
Nana. I know
not
her as Nana, but I love
yes,
her.
Nana, she's amazing. You should have
She's
her
amazing.
on, honestly. Not
Oh my gosh.
any
Love that.
Would love I
not
love Nana.
not in any like, she didn't I mean, I wasn't in danger, like, she wasn't permissive, but when it
Right.
came to things like, I was very determined to go to the elementary school for kindergarten that my friends were going to, and be in their class, and I was old for the grade, but she went with it, you know?
Oh my gosh. She knew.
Always, I mean, if you've been a listener, you know that I have a willful child,
Yes.
and it's always encouraging to hear and see willful children make it.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
There are days I'm concerned.
They're hard
I
So,
to
know.
parent. They're really hard to parent.
I have 1 too, I think. I can't totally tell yet, or 2. I may have 3 willful, I don't know,
I
that
but
mean,
would be
I
exciting.
I have one and she reminds me of you so I don't know you as a 4 or 5-year-old, but you would always say, "This is how I used to
yeah.
be," and it's, like, so encouraging because she's the hardest one for me, and I'm okay to admit that, but it's because it's her way or the highway, and I kind of am gonna go with Nana's advice because I kind of trust her already. Like,
Yes.
it's kind of like I need to care for her and guide her and
Yes.
love her, but she knows what she wants, and she's not wrong a lot. Not, like, with her path, like,
Right.
she's just like,
Things that
"I
are
don't wanna do that anymore."
yes,
Yeah,
safe,
like,
choices, obviously,
the other
but
day she just goes, "I don't wanna do ballet anymore," and I was like, "I can kind of like, I'll trust it. I'm not gonna just let you quit, but let's talk through it. I know this
mhm,
is not coming out of nothing." It's like, she's thought about it.
yes,
I don't know, so it's very hard, but it's kind of interesting to parent somebody that young that knows kind of what they want already.
that's yeah, and I mean, I think you're doing all the right things with that, and
Yeah,
it has to be
thank you.
flexible. All these little people are different, so the way you deal with her isn't the way you're gonna deal with the other ones.
No.
They're all
No.
Yeah.
different in their own special way.
I wanna do a whole I wanna get someone that understands child psychology and bring them in and talk about nature versus nurture,
Yes, do that,
because
Yeah.
please.
I am fascinated by that plus birth order,
Yes.
where I'm like, "I swear I've done the exact same things for these kids, and they are so wildly different." So,
So wildly different.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
for another
amazing.
topic, but okay, so Rosemary, you're in law school, you're like, "I'm probably not gonna do this, but gonna go ahead and invest all this time."
And money.
'Cause I'm gonna
Time, money, resources,
Debt.
energy, all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
things.
I think because my mom was always so encouraging and always was like, "You can do whatever you wanna do." I just felt that it was going to work out. I had this feeling that it's gonna
cool.
work out. I don't know, maybe this is crazy that I have felt that way, but I had
No, it's
a
amazing.
strong spine and confidence, and I think it was because of her. I do. So I was
That's
in law
so
school,
wonderful.
and I really did like it a lot. So, for a while I was like, "Oh, maybe I will create a TV series that's about law school. Maybe I'll create a TV series about being a lawyer." I was never sure what direction it was going. I ended up being a tax lawyer of all things. Like I picked the most, let's say
Boring?
nerdy,
Is boring a
boring.
word?
Yeah,
No.
I
boring.
didn't find it boring. It's very much like puzzles, but yes, people do think that it's boring. It's more like
That was rude of me. It's probably
well,
wildly
but it does
entertaining.
have that reputation. I wouldn't say it's wildly entertaining, but it isn't what you think. There's no numbers. Like it's more about like fitting a puzzle together. But yeah, and my family was, I mean, astonished. My grandmother, who had been an actress in the Yiddish theater, had been a dancer with Martha Graham, like amazing woman at that point, 80 something, almost 90 years old, said, "Where did we go wrong? How could she do this?" Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
There's that
So
where did we go
encouragement.
wrong?
yeah, but I
There's that
mean,
encouragement we were looking for.
and then they came around and were supportive, but it was shocking to them. It was a real departure from what they thought I was going to do and, kind of carry on the family tradition. I didn't end up doing that. And, part of it was that I have two sides of my family who come from this world, and my mother's only child. So I was the only one who was like the product of these two great acting
Wow.
lines, really. So there was a lot of
But
pressure.
you're in New York at this time. I
Yeah.
think we mentioned that, but maybe not. So
Okay.
you've
So I
gone
went
to
to NYU for law school. I moved to New York.
you were in law school. Did you, like, dabble with theater in New York
Yeah.
to, like, kinda
No,
keep you
no, I
No,
didn't
okay.
dabble with
It
theater
was
in New York. There were
okay.
little things like there was a group that was devoted to sort of restoring and preserving some of the plays that my grandparents had been involved in. So I would support that group and participate in some of their benefits and do like a stage reading,
Wow, that's
stuff,
cool.
fun stuff like that. But no, I wasn't auditioning or pursuing acting,
Okay.
really. No.
And so then take us through like the next, you were in New York for a while, but then how did you get to Charlotte and like
Okay.
what career
Yes. So
transfer? And then we'll get into motherhood because you also have
No,
had,
this is where I'm like, I love hearing where people decide to interject kids into a
yeah.
career because
yes.
it's like very fraught with a
Yeah,
lot of
and I
questions
loved
and indecision.
listening to
So,
that part of what you guys have covered in other episodes. So, okay, so I was in New York. I ended up becoming a tax lawyer at a very large, very prestigious New York law firm where that life, for anyone who doesn't know, first year associates, I was in the corporate tax group, big mergers and acquisitions, private equity deals. Sleep is very hard to come by. We'll sleep when we're dead.
Yeah.
So I was not
Yep.
sleeping then. I didn't have kids, but I was not sleeping. And it was really rough. And I realized I don't want to be a tax lawyer, not just because of the lack of sleep, but it didn't end up remaining as exciting for me to pursue.
yeah.
So I had to leave, but I couldn't get a job with the same kind of salary doing anything really. So I took a risk. This was kind of the second big pivot. And I took a job at the New York State government working at an agency called the New York Department of Financial Services that regulates banks and insurance companies, thinking that eventually somebody would hire me from a bank or an insurance company
Mm.
from the regulator who regulates them. But I took a
Are those
huge pay
hard to
cut.
get into organically? Like, would that be hard to make that jump? Or,
Probably it was technically a fellowship that was offered by the
okay.
state government. So it wasn't even a full-time job that was going to lead anywhere necessarily. It was a 2-year fellowship. So it was a huge risk. And looking back, I don't understand exactly why I did it, but something led me to do it. And the first day was an orientation in Albany, New York. And I went in and it was like 30 people, most of them fresh out of law school. So I was like the one who had a career already. Most were younger, but my husband was there. So that's where I met my husband. So he was
Mhm.
doing the same fellowship.
There's why we did that
That's why we did.
fellowship. Now
So
we
we
know.
did that and I met him and we, after some friendship period and courting period, we started dating. And only about 9 or 10 months later, I saw an opening at MetLife. And I ended up going to work at MetLife as an annuities lawyer. So that goal of getting hired in-house came true pretty quickly. And that was the beginning of my in-house legal career, really, at MetLife. Some changes happened with the company. They spun off a different company, and I ended up moving down to Charlotte to support our then general counsel as her chief of staff. So they wanted me to move down to Charlotte. She was located here. Company was located here. And so I moved down here with my husband. We did not have kids. I will say we were trying. I had some early disappointments in that area. So a couple of early losses, and it was the first child. So I really was nervous that I wasn't
Right.
going to be able to have kids. And at that point, I was 33. So I was very much in a rush at that point,
Mhm. Mhm.
feeling like my fertility was declining, not knowing if I had fertility to begin with. And, he was very much on the slower pace of moving through life. And I was very much like, we have to get engaged. You have to move it. Like, what's going on? Get on it, sir. And
Mhm.
luckily he did. So we moved down to Charlotte. We didn't know
I don't
anyone.
know that experience,
So you're
so
not familiar with that one? Yeah, it's fun.
yeah, I've never been like that.
Yeah.
Crying in a Kroger parking lot, asking Kevin why he hadn't purchased the ring yet when we had talked about this 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Sobbing.
I will tell you,
Uh-huh.
this man did have a deadline that he met, but it was rough there,
A deadline.
you know?
Oh my God,
Yeah.
it's so good.
And
Love
once he got
strong
there,
women.
he was fully there. Like I will say, that's one benefit where I felt like once we crossed to the next chapter, whatever the chapter was, he was very much ready because he had taken
Mhm.
all the time he needed for him to get
Mhm.
himself ready. Right. So I didn't have
Yep.
doubt once we got there, which is great.
And how
Okay,
did
before
that,
Oh, go ahead.
I think we're going to ask the same question. You go.
We're absolutely not.
Oh,
I
okay.
can almost guarantee it.
Okay, you
But
go.
you go. You go first.
Well, I was just going to say where in your life, like your timeline of wanting a kid was due to your age and your concern about fertility, but where did that did you think about your career? Like, was that a conversation of like, is this a good time in my career to have kids? Or were you just like, it doesn't matter. I'm 33. I want to get this ball
Yeah,
rolling. I'll
I
figure
didn't
out my
care.
career.
I did not care about the
Yeah.
career. I mean, I cared about the career, but I felt like it'll
Mhm.
work out. It'll work out one way or another. And I knew I wanted to have children. I knew I wanted to have more than one child.
Hmm.
And I will say, personally, I didn't go to college until didn't go to law school until I was 25. I didn't finish college till I was 25. I was a late bloomer in terms of being able to have a healthy relationship. I grew up
Hmm.
in Los Angeles with parents who had a lot of different marriages. So I didn't have like that example of like this is how a relationship works. I had some issues. So it was not easy for me to find a partner and have a successful relationship. That took a long time. And it was good that I didn't meet Fielding until I was 32, 31, because I wasn't ready. So there was no way I could have had children before that age. I would not have been I wouldn't have been as good a mother
Yeah.
and or wife. I mean, I just was not ready for that. So for me, once
Yeah.
I got the relationship and I got a marriage that felt like, okay, he could be the father of children, then it was like, we better start doing this if I want to have more than one. I had not frozen eggs and I had a lot of anxiety. And then
Yeah.
I did have two early losses. So I was quite terrified about it. So then it was like all systems go, let's do this.
Yeah.
So when we moved to Charlotte,
My
that's the state we were in. Yeah.
my question, Sam, and the reason I said there's no way it was the same is because I am wildly curious about chief of staff roles because
Yeah.
I've never understood like the purpose of them and like where they fit within a career.
Okay.
So I'm curious if you even have like, a thought around like how they
Yes, I
can.
do. So I
So
think it's
any comments that you have about that?
highly dependent on who you're the chief for. Whose staff are you
Yeah.
chiefing? Because
Hmm.
in my opinion, the purpose of them is mentorship and development.
Mm,
So if
okay.
me, that's an opportunity to be developed for future different roles.
Leadership
Yeah,
roles.
leadership
Yep.
roles. That to me is the point. And of
Got it.
course, you're helping the executive, whoever you're supporting with, you should be helpful to them, of course, obviously. But
Right.
I learned, I mean, that was an experience that changed my whole career, was supporting
Yeah.
our then general counsel and sitting with her, not particularly with like nuts and bolts of the law, but about strategy and understanding corporate politics and what has to be thought of before any decision is made. How is this going to impact these 12 parties that, you don't necessarily know? What are you going to do? Who are you going to tell first? Who are you not going to tell first? Right? All of those things that you don't learn on paper. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. I think my experience of that role has largely been seeing it through startups where it's
Mm,
like which I think is a very different
yes.
it's more of an air traffic controller, project manager
Yes.
type of position whereas the way you're describing it absolutely sounds like a career accelerator and an enhancer. So, I think that's really cool. Thanks for that.
Oh, yeah, sure, and it did give me visibility, across the organization, allowed me to take on the roles that I got later on. Probably wouldn't have been
Yeah.
possible without that.
So you have 3 kids now. You
Yes.
have a thriving career. Your husband's working. And I'm so curious about like what's the structure look like for you? Like how do you make everything work? The momming, the career, all of that.
As one would say with our last guest, integration of work
Integration,
life.
yes.
Yeah.
Work-life
Yeah.
How are
integration.
you doing it?
I don't know, and I don't know how I will do it in a month when I started a new job, okay? I don't know. So, I will say, I know there's been all kinds of movements and back and forth with, like, the idea of leaning in, but I do think that, that's sort of been my approach, like, I'm just gonna do it and figure it out after.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say no because I don't want to say no. I want to do a big job. I want to travel. I want to do cool things. My brain really needs that. I am in awe of the stay at home moms because I could
Same.
not. I could not.
Same.
No.
Same.
And when I have
Hey
done,
Sam.
like
Thank
on
you, Sam.
maternity leave, I am not a well person. Like I cannot do it, right? It's not good for me and it's not good for them. Yeah. So me saying yes to career stuff is for everyone's benefit in the long run because I'm a better mom when I'm mentally
Mhm.
entertained with something outside that's not that stay-at-home moms aren't also, but I mean for significant hours of the day of, doing
You'll
something.
never say anything that'll offend me
Well,
because
I don't wanna
literally
offend
I
any
don't.
stay-at-home moms because
Oh, true. I forgot I'm not the only
you're not
stay-at-home
the
mom
only
here.
one,
Okay,
Sam.
sorry.
Yeah.
I was about to say
This
there's
is a
nothing that could
podcast. We're
offend
not
the state.
just, like, chit-chatting, right.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right. But I
So
told you, it's like I'm just talking to you and
I
only you.
know,
Okay, I
I
forgot.
know.
You're right. You're right.
You know, I need a structure. I need a schedule and I need to be needed somewhere else. That's what it needs to be for me. So yeah, the answer is that I don't know and I will figure it out. Currently, we have a morning nanny for my baby who's close to 7 months old. And then my oldest son is in first grade at an elementary school.
Mhm.
My middle son is at a daycare where the baby will join him in January. So I've never done daycare before. I've always had nannies, but until preschool. And Sam was very helpful for me this time figuring out what to do. I've used different friends to be like, what do I do? How do I do this? And Sam was great
Mhm.
about being like, you have an opportunity to do a daycare. And I was like, Sam, it's amazing. They're going to make them all the food. I don't have to pack the lunches. I don't have to do this. There's no days off. Like there's like 3 days off the whole year. I don't have to find camps for 5 years. And I'm 42 now. So like I just wasn't up for it doing that all over again. So she will join Ronan, my middle son, at a daycare in January. And then
But
he
would
will
you
go to,
say
Rosemary, I'm so excited about that for you.
I'm
I
really
mean, we
excited.
literally just talked about that on this last week's podcast. The release of the nannies for
into
me
daycare? Yeah.
was the best thing that I've ever done for my mental load.
Really? Okay. Well, we have
Ever.
one nanny
Yes.
who is our heart and soul, and she will remain. Yes, she will remain, but she's
For pickups and
yes.
all of that,
And
I'm
but
assuming.
she's part,
Yep.
like, she's my other child. Like, she's my
She's family.
adopted
Yeah.
daughter. Yeah. So that's different. But yes, I think that I don't need to supervise anyone else. Like I'm already managing a team of people at work. I have very little left to supervise and instruct outside of the workplace and children and husband and all of those things. Like they're just, yeah, I'm excited about it.
There's something about going from 2 to 3 where it's completely about logistics at that point. It's
Yeah.
not about what I don't know, like, there's just, like, you cannot be at 3 places at one time, and so I find myself even now with my own system, it's all logistics. Like, I just made a huge change to my girls' dance schedule. I hired somebody for Fridays just because the logistics didn't work. Do they wanna maybe be dancing more on Thursdays and Fridays? Yeah, maybe, but for me, the logistics was, like, completely more important, and I think that's when we were texting all that time, it was a
Yes.
lot about the, like, long-term plan because you were a little concerned about changing schools for your middle, and I was just like, "You gotta see the long-term
Yes.
logistics." Like, you have 3 now. You have
Right.
3. You don't yeah, that's
Yes, I
really
was trying to see if I needed to prioritize my 4-year-old's feelings because he
yes, and
he liked
yes.
his old school and he was gonna have to move
Yeah,
schools in order for the baby to get in to the daycare, basically, as a sibling. So, he was gonna be sad, and he was sad. He was sad, but guess what? Now he's fine, and I don't have to spend 5 years packing lunch, right? So, it's worth it. It was worth it. He's better than fine. He's having a great time, you know? And,
right,
like,
right, I
I was
love that.
actually talking about the mom guilt, right? I was actually contemplating, like, not making this change because he was gonna be mad for a few weeks, right? No, no, like, Sam, thank you. That was crazy.
It's on a Sam to Lucy scale, because I feel like that's the scale now
That's a
where
great way of putting it.
it really is. It's like mom guilt to no mom guilt. I'm, like, very curious where you fall, especially when you think about, like, if you're traveling for work or if you have a week where you're, like, really in it and you can't be as in it from a mom perspective.
It'll be interesting with the new role because I think this is gonna come up much more. I have been very blessed to have a flexible schedule, and that has helped me manage not a flexible schedule, but flexibility in terms of when I'm getting my work done. I also do think it helps to be somewhat senior because I have more control over when meetings happen. Not total
Mhm.
control, but more control. We'll see with the new job how that plays out. The guilt is, I will say, it's worse as they've gotten a little older. So, my oldest one, when he actually says, why do you have to have a job? Why, so and so's mom doesn't have a job. Why are you, why? That's hard. And he'll be crying when he says it. Don't go on this trip, stay home. cancel it. I've had that whole thing and
Mhm.
it's hard, but I also know deep down that it's wrong to cancel it, right? That is not a
Mhm.
good message. And that's
Right.
where you find the line of like the guilt also versus listening to your kid, letting your kid run the show and not letting your kid run the show.
Mhm.
Because I know
Mhm.
that if I said, okay, honey, I'll cancel it this time, that's one of the worst things I could do for him because he
Yeah.
shouldn't feel that he has that kind of control. He should know he's not the child. And that's the difference between being a parent and a child. And I will say, as amazing as my parents were, and they all were in their own ways, I did grow up a little too fast. I felt an outsized power with the adults that
Mm.
Yeah.
not because I decided
Interesting.
not to do ballet anymore, Sam. Very different situation. Like I
Yeah.
was doing adult things. I was thinking about my parents' marriage and whether I could save
Yeah.
it, that kind of thing. So I'm conscious of not giving my children that kind of say because I don't want them to have those feelings. So the guilt is easily overpowered by logic. I will say that. But I have the guilt
Amazing.
for sure on a scale between I'm probably somewhere in the middle.
Mhm.
Somewhere
Yeah.
in the middle, but the Lucy the Sam kinda overpowers in the end
Yeah.
when I have to
Yeah.
make the decision.
You're like,
I'm trying to get there. I'm really
Well,
trying to
you
get
are
there,
there,
and
though.
this
You
has
wouldn't
been
be doing what you're doing. Like, you have a career. Yeah,
it
I'm
is.
quick to make a decision, and then I'm good at, you know, moving on mentally. Once I've made the decision, I've made the decision, and I'm not gonna agonize over it anymore. That's true.
we love a matter of fact situation. That's great. I
Uh,
love
it's already like 45 minutes, so I feel like we're
Yeah.
Yeah.
already coming to an end, but I have 1,000 more questions for you. But do you want to? I always love the question you asked Luce about what the non-negotiable.
Yeah, I am really curious. Like, what in a week, you look at your week, you're like, here's the schedule. These people have to be here. These little people have to be here when I need to be here at this point in time. I'm required to be present. Like, what are your non negotiables to make all of that work for yourself mentally?
So it's changed over the years, and what works today is not the thing that'll probably work in 6 months. So you have to have that flexible mindset because things change. Children get older, the needs change. Right now, exercising is very important to me. But if you had told me that 8 years ago, I would not have believed you in a million years because I did not
Hmm.
move my body and I didn't care. So that
And
is
now you make it like a daily priority.
almost daily, and I go to Burn Boot Camp, which I know has also come up on the pod before.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
and they have Child Watch, right? So you have to find the thing that works. It's not gonna work for me to go to a different kind of class or to train for a
Right,
marathon right now. What's gonna work is
right.
the one that has the Child Watch. So that's what I do. And that helps me a lot mentally. It helps me a lot mentally. And sleep, because my kids wake up at the crack of dawn, as do yours,
Woo!
and I go
We
to bed
love
around
that.
9.
We love that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
go to
she's
bed.
also been blessed with some really
Yeah,
lovely early. I
yeah,
mean,
they
we're
are
talking
Light
years.
sleeper.
Again, couldn't even touch the surface of that, but you have had
woo,
years of
years.
4 a.m.ers.
Yeah,
Yes.
and 3 a.m.ers up for the
Yes.
day.
It's the 4 that's the worst. How is
Or
that
the
you
3.
and
I had
Sarah?
the 3 for a long time, maybe a
Yeah.
No.
year. I had one that
Yes.
got up at
Yeah.
3 for the day.
They would have her and Fielding had a system that they would have to like first 2 hours and then they'd go back to sleep and
I
still
would go
get a
back to
couple
bed
hours of
at
sleep
5.
before school.
Yeah, it was like
Yes.
he ended up it was like
Yes.
he had
Brutal.
reflux. There was something medically
Yeah.
wrong,
Yeah.
right? Which we figured out
Yeah.
after a year. Okay.
A
Anyway,
year. Yeah.
so it's exercise and it's sleep. That's it.
Love it.
Okay, can we do a quick this or that just for fun? Because I forgot I
Yes.
did this. Okay, just
Yes.
really quickly, Rosemary. Ready?
Yeah,
Coffee or tea?
coffee. Oh, yeah.
Remote work or in person?
Mostly remote. Mostly
Okay.
remote, but I like a little in person.
Okay. Do you prefer sleep training or potty training?
Sleep
These are
anything
good, Sam.
potty training is the last thing I wanna do ever, probably, so
Ever.
sleep training, I also hate that, but I will do sleep training, especially with the 3rd one because I don't the heartstrings are not as tender anymore. I'm like, "You just go to bed, you'll be fine." Yeah.
I'll
No, I
never
can't.
forget one of the first thoughts I had when I found out I was pregnant with Ruby, truly, was I have to potty train again. Like
Ugh,
that's how much I hate potty training.
I can't.
Okay. Harder transition for you. 0 to 1, 1 to 2, or 2 to 3.
For sure, 2 to 3 is the easiest, no question.
You are bananas.
For sure, but my age gap is very big. I have 4 and a
That's true.
half years between the 2nd and the 3rd. So and the 3rd is a girl and the first 2 are boys. So, okay.
So then what was the hardest?
The hardest was probably 0 to 1 because I was just I had had a life where I decided what I wanted to do and I made it happen.
Mhm.
And when you have a baby, that falls apart. It falls
Yep.
apart. And
Totally.
I kind of fell apart. The mom group, which came out of survival, that came out of truly a survival instinct because I was going to drown and they kept me above the water. Not much
And
above,
are
but
still keeping me.
enough
Still keeping
to
us.
sort of
Okay, 2 more.
breathe. Yeah.
2 more. Do you prefer a 4-month-old or a 3-year-old?
4 month.
Okay.
Oh yeah. 3-year-old,
And
3-year-old. No,
nobody prefers it.
No,
Um,
no.
okay, are you a morning or night person?
morning, morning. By the end of the day, we try to watch a show and I'm out. Yeah, morning. And my husband's very much the opposite, which is good because we can sort of balance.
Yeah.
Same. That's exactly what happens at our house.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
Thank you
much.
so
Thank you. I
much.
had such a great time. It was really fun.
Such
Do
a blast.
have you listened to the end of our podcast? We do a product or something that we've done for ourselves as a mother. I have something I've done for myself, but I always have something I've done for myself. That's like the joke.
Okay,
Luce, do you have anything this week?
can you go first and then I'll go?
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
you go,
Yeah.
Sam. I don't.
You don't have
A
much. Okay.
product.
I did this is what I did for myself on Sunday. I purchased 4 tickets to the movie Gabby's Dollhouse at 1 p.m. and sent my husband with all 3 daughters to the movie theater. So I had an afternoon to myself.
Really nice.
That is
Uh-huh.
incredible.
Mhm. Yep.
That's great.
Sure did. It
Oh
was
my
great.
gosh. People need to take that and run with it.
I know. I was
Really
so proud
good.
of myself. I was like, I can't wait to tell Lucy what I did.
And Kyle also loves going to the movies. So I feel like
Loves.
that's win-win-win all around.
He loves the movies. But the fact that Ruby got to go this time, because Ruby doesn't go, but she was able to go because it was Gabby's Dollhouse, 2 hours to myself.
God bless it.
I
I
have one
love
that's
it.
not as related to momming
That's
and
okay.
stuff. But, I have family that I don't get to see very often. Some of them can't afford to come visit, and they live in places I'm never going to go. And I decided to stop waiting for some magical miracle to happen. So I'm flying them to come here. And I'm making them come, whether they want to or not. They might feel bad that I'm paying for it, but I don't care. If we're ever going to see each other again, this is what's happening. So that feels like
That's
something.
incredible.
Because they haven't met my kids in some cases. So it's got to happen. So in this
It's the
month that I
most
have off,
heartwarming way we could possibly end this podcast.
know,
I'm
that's
obsessed
one-
with that.
I'm happy about it. And it's during my time off from between jobs. So yeah, I'm
Oh
excited.
my gosh. Well,
Love that.
enjoy every minute of this time off. I know that it
Thank
can be
you.
really hard to take
I
time,
know I'm so
but
freaked out about it
I hope that
ending,
you
starting and ending.
I hope I hope you really enjoy it, and thank you so much. It was
Yeah,
so
thank you,
amazing to hear your
Rosemary.
story.
Thank you
So
so
Love
much.
fun.
I
that.
loved it.
Okay. See
Thank
ya.
you.